Alright, hey guys, it's rachelbass. Today I'm going to do a video about something that is, let's look at my phone, look at my notes. Here we go. Got some notes. Where are my notes? Okay, hey guys, it's rachelbass. Today I'm going to be talking about something that I get asked a lot. Hey Rach, I'm thinking of playing bass. Okay, so it's not really a question, but I do get asked that a lot, and people kind of expect me to just reply with the actual answers of, like what kind of bass should I get, or what do I need when I'm starting out and stuff. So, hopefully this video will kind of explain a lot of those kind of startery questions, and give you some useful tips on how to kind of improve when you're starting out as a bass player. Obviously some of these tips can be useful for like learning other instruments as well, so yeah, it will be a useful video. Let's start. Number one, getting your bass, okay? So people always say to me, what's a good starter bass? I kind of suggest that there isn't really a good starter bass, because sometimes you end up using whatever bass you start out with for something else later on. I still use my first bass because it has a cool sound. It's a Yamaha RBX, and it's got a sound very close to the Fender Precision when you're using the P pickups. It's pretty cool. So I still use that occasionally. So there isn't really such thing as a starter bass. What I would say is the most important thing when you're getting your first bass is that it is comfortable, okay? Because the thing is, you're going to be holding your bass, you're the one who's going to be playing it, you're the one who's going to be using it. Make sure it's comfortable, make sure you're comfortable playing it. That's, standard. So make sure you get a comfortable bass. You can worry about sounds later, but in all honesty, you can get any sound you kind of want out of any instrument with a mixture of pedals and software and amplifiers and things like that. Second thing, left or right hand? You won't never know until someone gives you an instrument. When you hold it, that's when you kind of realise, hey, this feels comfortable on this hand, this doesn't feel comfortable on that hand. So again, you'll only know whether you're left or right-handed when you actually pick up the instrument. When you're going out, you're going to go buy your instrument, try out some basses, see what they feel like. If you pick up a right-handed one, it doesn't feel right, ask for a left-handed one, play that. If it feels right, hooray, you're left-handed. Yeah, left or right-handed, just try them out. Next thing I get is whether you should get a 4-string, a 5-string, 6-string, 7-string, whatever. People, you gotta realise, start off with 4-string basses because they are comfortable, okay? They're comfortable and they're easy to play. As you get more strings, the neck gets wider. Learning to play a 6-string bass is going to be super difficult because your hand position. Once you start playing on a 6-string, it changes because you have to reach around a bit further and things like that. Whereas on a 4-string, it's nice and easy. You can learn to get that grip. So a lot of people start on 4-string, but as I say, you can, if you feel like it and you're adventurous, go try a 6-string. Go try a 5-string. You're still going to be learning regardless of how many strings you've got. You're going to be learning it regardless. So 5, 6, 4, whatever. Go for what's easiest for you, okay? Number 3, to pick or not to pick. A lot of people, when they start out playing, maybe some people have come from guitar, so they're used to playing with a pick and kind of like holding the pick in their hand. And I would say, yeah, you can do that. You can start off playing bass with a pick. You don't have to. You can start with your fingers. It's great. They're both pretty good to learn. You will need to play with both a pick and your fingers at some point as a bass player. I actually myself started off on pick, and then I got told, bass players don't use picks, and then I was like, okay, I'll use my fingers. And then I used my fingers for ages, got really good, and then had to do some gigs with a pick. It was hard at first because I hadn't played in years with a pick, but you build back up your chops and you get back into it. But really, it's useful if you practice both with a pick and without a pick, so then you've got versatility. But what I would say is that playing with a pick is very useful for certain types of music. So if you're playing kind of like rock or metal, you get a really nice hard sound when you play it with a pick, whereas if you want a kind of soft and maybe a little bit more groovy sound, you can play with your fingers and you get that kind of like jazzy, sometimes gospel feel as well. Both guitarists and bassists use picks. You need them for a huge range of different things. Sometimes it can be just the style of music you're playing, so it's really good to learn with both. Use fingers, alternating fingers, then use pick, up and down strokes. But equally, you gotta remember, a pick is not the end of the world, because, there are players, like, let's take Flea, for example, who, he plays like a beast, and his finger technique is insane. But obviously, he's got that really harsh kind of picky sound. So, you can learn with both. Don't be disheartened if you can't do it, it's all good. If you're not sure what a pick is, here is a pick. This is a pick. Over here. Pick, no pick, you'll be fine. Amplifiers. Usually when you buy a bass, they kind of sell you one with it, like an amplifier with it. But if you're buying things separately and you're not sure where to start, go for something that has a relatively mid-range wattage. Now, wattage obviously is to do with power, but in terms of like bass and bass frequencies and things like that, and bass sound, it's simply the higher the wattage, the more bass you're going to get, the louder your bass is going to be. Currently I'm actually sat on top of my 300 watt amp. Above me, behind me somewhere, is my practice amp, which is about 50 to 60 watts. I would recommend, if you're starting out as a bass player and you're going to buy an amplifier, buy one that has a relatively kind of mid-range wattage, between about 50 and 100 watts, because most people, when they get their first amp, are sold like a 25 watt practice amp, which is great, but it ain't loud. It's not loud. What happens is, obviously, you take your little practice amp to someone's house, so you're gonna jam with them, whatever, you're gonna practice, and suddenly there is no bass because you're super quiet and no one can hear you. Especially if you're kind of starting out. I mean, if you're going to start out playing bass, probably because you're going to play in a band with other people, or, I mean, you might be just tracking, but like, probably because you're going to be playing with other people, and if you're starting out and you're just going to jam with people, having an amplifier where you can be heard in a room full of other instruments is very useful. So the higher the wattage, the louder you're going to be, and obviously you can just turn down if it's too loud. So I'd say definitely 50 to 100 watts is a good starting range of wattage for your practice amplifier / rehearsal amplifier. Otherwise, go to a studio, because you will get a number of amplifiers that are, beyond 500 watts. It'll be super loud and you'll be able to hear yourself. So practicing at home, practicing with friends, in rooms, small rooms, 50 to 100 watt amp. Any more, like bigger rooms, drum kits, whatever, go to studio. Tuning. Please, 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 please buy yourself a tuner. This one is just like, you must do this. Please, please, please wash your hands before you pick up your bass. Now, I once had someone tell me that the more dirt there is in your strings, the filthier your groove. I can kind of see where they're coming from, because, when you've got dirt in your strings, you get a different sound. It's a more dead sound. So when you get a new bass with new strings on it, it sounds really bright. And obviously that will wear out the more you play, because there will be grease and stuff on your hands, just, sweat and things like that. You can avoid losing all that brightness if you really like it. You can avoid losing it quickly by washing your hands before you play. Really simple thing, just make sure you do it. Some people forget. So clean hands when you're playing bass, because you keep that bright sound in your strings. Unless you're really going for the filthy groove sound, so then obviously it might sound cool. It's up to you. Personal preference, I would say bright strings are nicer, especially for recording, tracking bass as well. It's nice to have a bright sound. And obviously you can EQ more bass into it if you want, or obviously change settings on your bass itself and tone, things like that. Practice. Alright, practicing. So, practicing. Now, to start off with, you're probably going to be like, hey, what do I play on bass? Okay. Easiest thing is to just play pop songs, because pop songs have, really, really small structures. They have mainly 4 chords, sometimes 3 chords, 4 chords, sometimes 3 chords. Pop songs are really easy because the chord sequences are repeated every 4 bars or so they're really easy to learn. And you can actually find tabs. Tabs just tells you which frets you're playing on the bass. You can find tab for any pop song really online. There are so many websites. You literally just type in on Google, tab for blah blah blah, and you'll find some tabs, and that will help you to learn it on the bass. Learning pop songs is also a really good way of training your ears, because if you're listening to the bass and trying to match the pitch of what the bass in the track is doing to whatever you're playing, you'll start to develop an ear for the bass, and you'll be listening out in many different songs for the bass in tracks, and you'll hear it, and when you start matching the pitch, you'll be able to develop your ear as a musician by just training it to listen out for, what note is this? Oh, it sounds like it's going up, it sounds like it's going down. So you can train your ear by using pop songs, and then you'll start to recognise certain transitions and things like that happen without even having your bass in your hand. Another great thing to practice are riffs. Riffs are basically, you know, little melodic things that are repeated. And if you're learning riffs, there'll be shapes in them, there'll be catchy melodies. I mean, catchy melodies is a great thing because you can sing them, and if you can sing them, and you can match whatever the pitches of what you're singing to your instrument, then you've already trained your ear, you've already pretty much learned how to play the riff. Now you've just got to get those fingers moving fast enough to be able to play it along with the track. So riffs are a really good way of building up your practicing element. And finally, scales. Scales are really, really good to practice because when you're practicing scales, you're learning shapes, and shapes are really good for things like bass fills and little runs that you want to do, just to make the riffs that you're playing a bit more interesting. Practicing your scales, when you start learning those, it will develop your kind of technical skills. Alongside with practice comes discipline. Now, you got to be really disciplined with yourself. You got to say to yourself, you know, today I'm going to sit down for 10 minutes, and in these 10 minutes I'm going to practice the bass. And just be really strict with yourself. Sit down and say, yep, this is it, 10 minutes, I'm going to sit down and practice the bass. In those 10 minutes, let's say we're going to do this in 3 days. We're going to learn one song in 3 days. Day 1, 10 minutes, I'm going to learn the verse of a song. I'm going to try and match the pitch with my bass and see if I can learn just the verse. Learn the verse, match the pitch, start playing it, play it along with the track, play it perfectly. End of practicing. It might take you a bit longer, but that's okay. That's just day 1. Day 2, I'm gonna learn the chorus of this song. Okay, cool. Sit down, match the pitch, learn the chorus. There it is. You've got the chorus and the verse now. Go back over what you did the day before, add to it, you've got a chorus and a verse now. Day 3, I'm gonna learn the bridge. Now, most pop songs really only have verse, chorus, and bridge. So, verse day 1, chorus day 2, bridge day 3. Join them all together. Hey, you've learned a pop song, congratulations. It's super important to just, you know, discipline yourself and just say, this is it, I'm gonna set this time aside and I'm gonna practice this amount of time. I'm gonna do this in this practice session. As you develop your bass playing, you can kind of develop your technique and things like that, and then set yourself bigger targets, bigger goals. You know, it might take a few more days, but you will ultimately become better very quickly if you are disciplined with your practicing. Number 9, I think I missed out numbers, but anyway, number 9, join a band. If you're playing bass, yeah, you can chill on your own, that's cool, and you can do solo-y stuff and that's fun, but joining a band will actually be more useful for you as a musician and a bass player. I found in life, you learn and you can teach people when you're in a band. So if you're in a band with someone who's much better than you, for example, you will learn from that person very quickly, because if you have another rehearsal with them, you don't want to be playing badly again. So you're going to learn very quickly and go away and fix whatever mistakes you've done in your first rehearsal. Come back in the second rehearsal and just be like, hey, cool, look, this is what I can do. And that person's going to be like, oh, cool, that was great. Equally, if you are playing in a band of people who aren't as good as you, you can help them, you can teach them. And I mean, you know, being in a band isn't just about the musician side of things, it's also the social side of things. It's really fun hanging out with people that you actually get along with and you can play really cool music with. So being in a band, good for musicianship, good for social. Number 10, last, just commit to your bass playing, commit to your instrument, whichever instrument that may be. Obviously you're not going to go out and buy an instrument if you're not going to play it, so make sure you play it because it's fun. It's entertaining for not just you, obviously people around you, people who want to listen to you play, like it's really cool. So make sure that you commit to playing that instrument. Don't just leave it on a shelf to just get dusty. Even if it's just writing random songs for like 5 minutes or whatever, just commit to it and say, this is what I'm going to do. And it's that commitment kind of ties in with the discipline of your practice and stuff. So as long as you've got those two kind of together, you're going to be a pretty good bass player. Okay, cool. So I hope that these kind of tips and things like that will help you when deciding whether or not you want to play the bass, or kind of how you want to go about playing the bass, or learning and kind of structuring your learning, and just some vague questions that I always get asked by people because they're always vague when people ask me. So yeah, I hope this video kind of helps and answers a few of those questions. But obviously feel free to leave questions in the comments below and I will try and answer them as quickly as I can. Yeah, if you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe and follow me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. This is rachelbass, signing out. No, I don't like that. You know what, like, just goodbye.